I'm JD, TheMediaJack. You can follow me all over social media at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on Twitch. And this is episode 408 of the Flipside, Fans of the Insanity. And this time, this is a two-parter, an unprecedented episode of the Flipside, as we are into part 2 of a conjoined, like two weird twins of a podcast. To start off the first episode of the podcast on a great podcast called In the Red. The link is in the description down below. And we're continuing on with the conversation on the flip side. And we'll just start off with the introductions. To my left is
Dave.
He got it right.
Yes.
This is our 10th take of this, just in case you didn't know.
What is Dave?
directly across from me is
Brian.
And right next to Brian is
John.
And you guys are the core
Sorry, John.
of In the Red. Thank you so much for
The rotten core.
the rotten core of
yeah.
the In the Red. Thank you so much for helping me out with this little side project that we got going on here.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Now, you guys have been doing In the Red for how long?
Just over almost 2 years.
2 years. About,
Yeah, we
pretty
just
much
celebrated.
2015 we started.
We just celebrated our 100th episode. And actually, the first part of this is our 104th episode.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, we've it's been awesome. Actually, we've added Johnny. Originally, it was just the two of us, and people were like, "These guys are fucking boring as shit. They need somebody else." So we were like, "Okay,
So
well,
true.
we
So true.
found some homeless guy living
Preach.
outside of my old house, and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast? We'll give you some cookies or something."
He's
like,
not a
"Okay."
homeless guy. He's a lovely man, and
He
he's
is
a
a lovely
great engineer.
He is a great engineer.
Yes, he is.
One day he'll be a producer. But for now, he's just an engineer.
You'll get a promotion eventually. You have to work for a while at it. but, you know.
Exactly. So what inspired the idea of the podcast In the Red? Because it's a unique name, and you guys have an incredibly wonderful, entertaining, unique show.
I can definitely answer that.
Please.
He'll get it
when
wrong.
Dave and I, when we became friends back in, I would say, what, 2007, maybe 2006?
No, it was like 2002, 2001.
Okay. Anyways, we worked at a call center, so I was way off.
Call center.
We worked at a call center, and we used to have a good banter, and I started getting involved with my now wife and stuff. And there was a lot of people we hung around with would say, "You guys are hilarious. Why don't you guys like record something where you guys do this back and forth?" And she'd even sit there, and she'd go, sometimes she'd just sit back and go, this is entertaining. Like, I don't have to say shit. You guys just don't stop for like an hour and a half. So we're kind of like, oh, an hour and a half. Well, we could do that and record it, and maybe somebody would listen to it.
Well, it was always like the Dave and Brian show wherever
was.
we went. And
A
we used
lot
to
of
write.
times.
It was funny because when we worked at the call center, we used to write sketches back and forth through our internal
Oh my
email.
God.
Really?
And
Tons.
we'd just write, hey, I got this great idea about this kid who puts a dildo on his head and he thinks he's a unicorn. Yeah. And he's just running around in the mom, and he'd write some stuff back. And we actually were getting involved at a point
With Shaw Cable.
With Shaw Cable and our stuff with another couple of comedians who were local. And they're like, well, we'll write some sketches and we'll do some stuff. So we wrote a couple sketches and we submitted them. Basically, we just polished up what we'd already written. And the Shaw Cable was like, we can't do any of this.
It was all super offensive
Yeah.
stuff.
So,
It
it
said,
was- so what you're saying
homeless-
is funny.
the
It was
yeah,
funny.
It was funny. Well,
Funny to us. We
Yeah.
laughed our asses off at it.
Yeah.
There was the I'm a unicorn sketch. There was one about homeless. There was Homeless Corporation, which gave homeless people jobs of No, it was training spaces for homeless people, and they
It was
would
gay
go in.
people. It was gay men going into homeless
Oh, yeah, it
people's.
was gay
it was
eyes.
like homos for the hobos.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
By Hobocore.
Yeah.
And they'd go into the homeless people's cardboard boxes and renovate them for them while they were gone.
You know what you got from the guy at Shaw when he reads something like that? Just he closes his eyes and shakes his head slowly and goes, "No." All of this is wrong. The unicorn one was a good one because it was a kid that finds his mom's dildo with a suction cup.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
takes
yeah.
it
Puts it on
outside in
his
the
head.
yard and licks it and sticks it to his head. And he's running around while his mom's doing the dishes
Mom,
in the kitchen.
I'm a unicorn.
Saying, I'm a unicorn. Waving to her in the kitchen. The neighbors are looking like, what the fuck? The kid's got a huge pink penis on his head. And then the mom's like, oh, fuck. And he's like, you can't do that.
It was great because the mother was like completely, she was just standing there going, "That's nice, dear," doing her.
My son's a unicorn.
It's like, oh fuck! Yeah, as it goes up, the neighbor's butt. But yeah, no. We always have hit it off. We've always been like the yin and yang. He's the yin to my yang, I guess. Yeah, I can't get rid of him now, so I don't have a choice.
I have tenure.
You have tenure is important, especially in this world.
His wife wishes he had tenure.
That's true.
So the brainchild initially started between you two. How did Johnny get involved?
We were looking for somebody who would actually take over the reins of that, because it's hard to do that and perform.
Right.
And Johnny is a good friend of ours, and he's really into
he's fucking
the
rad.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
He's always been into the same shit that we've been into, that big kind of nerd culture. We're around the same age. We have a lot of the same interests. And I've known Johnny for, like 6 years now. Something like that. Ever since I first met my husband. Johnny's like one of the first people who was fantastic when I met my husband. Because I remember it was at Woody's. I believe it was a hooker show.
What?
The band The Hookers.
Oh.
It wasn't. That's right. Only in Abbotsford the hookers come out in full form. You can't call it a striptease. It's the Hooker Show.
Fantastic rock and roll band.
She's going for 20. Do I hear 20? 20, 30, 35. 35 in the back, 45. Sold, 65 an hour. Okay, so no, it was Woody's was an indoor skate park.
Okay.
That used to be in the industrial area here in Abbotsford, just past where the cheese factory is, actually. And my husband was in a band at the time called Blistering Barnacles, and they were opening for a band called The Hookers from way down south, Tennessee, Kentucky. Yeah. So they were in there, and Johnny was there, and Brian and I, and we're both awkward. We're like, hey, cool punks. And we were sitting on kind of I guess it was like the half pipe area.
Okay. There was a ramp in there.
Yeah. And Johnny was actually one of the first people who came like, hey guys, how's it going? Do you mind if I sit here? And yeah, he's always been super friendly, super nice. And he's actually one of my favorite people. So it was only natural.
Johnny's the glue to our shit sandwich.
He really is. He's the glue that keeps this garbage going. And it's been fantastic having him on the show. He's a great part of it. His role's gotten a little bigger over the years. Like originally, it was just I just want you to hit the button and do this.
Operator.
But he gives a lot of insight.
It's also added. Also, when Johnny was introduced to this, it added a really cool element that a lot of people really liked, where we would do, say, a top 5 list of whatever we did.
Yeah.
But at the end, after me and Dave went back and forth and did ours, Johnny would add his in it at the end. And the way it was set up, a lot of people were like, I really like that. And I will listen to it right to the end just to hear Johnny's bit, because I really want to hear that part, because it's super good.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, he's super rapid fire. He's super fast, like boom, 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 and just hitting you with knowledge the whole time while he does it. He's very well prepared. He's got stuff written down, which is more than I can say for me or Dave most of the time.
Did you Snopes that?
So sometimes you pull it out of your ass, but sometimes you write it the fuck down. I'm trying to pump your tires here. Give me a fucking break.
He's kind of like the dad of the show, because he's like he said, he'll bring up some. Oh, I'm pretty sure I saw a video about people smoking pot in the McDonald's. It's like, that's totally fake, Johnny. Come on, like, you just believe what you saw on Facebook. Did you research this? No, there's an article here on Facebook about Sass Jordan giving birth to the Bat Baby.
A good show can have multiple pilots, as I like to say. A good show can have multiple drivers, but you have to have one navigator to keep everything on the road. The driver will go in multiple different directions, but as long as the navigator keeps things in the general direction of where you want to go, it's always a good show.
Yeah,
That's Dave.
That's
See, I look at it more like I look at it like Top Gear. Like if you're a fan of Top Gear,
yes.
I would be Jeremy Clarkson.
I could see that.
You would be Hamster, even though you're tall.
Richard Hammond.
You'd be the fucking Brummy.
And you obviously
James May.
are James May. You're the reserve
Captain Sensible.
Captain Slow.
I'm the loud, obnoxious one. You're the quiet, timid one who bleaches his teeth. And you do enjoy teeth.
I only use Clorox.
So, what did you think when you initially got started and involved within the Red?
I mean, I was kind of nervous. I didn't really know what the role of a producer was. I still don't, really, to be completely honest.
I told him to watch Frasier. It's like, okay, you know Perry Gilvin's character? That's you.
I never did that. I never
Did you-
did
best-
bother. I
best-
never did bother
yeah.
to do that. But yeah, I mean, this is a matter of me hanging out with a couple of my really good pals. Yeah, we hang out and do other stuff as well, play video games and play RPGs and so forth. And yeah, it just provided a scheduled opportunity to hang out
Yes.
on a weekly basis. And yeah,
It makes all the
it's
difference in
been
the
an
world.
absolute, amazing time for sure. I'm so thankful to be on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally I agree and appreciate that kind of candor as well as honesty, because it's the same thing with the Flipside, is that the Flipside family is about 13 to 14 different people, but to have a scheduled show, it gives an opportunity to just like, well, reconnect, and this is what happened this week, and oh shit, and got into a car accident here and there, blah, 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 blah. But it's at the end of the day, it's still a fun show, a fun opportunity to hang out with friends and just shoot the shit and have a couple of laughs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we've added elements, like we've added cocktails, we've added our...
Which is a
our weekly
great
bit.
element, by the way.
It's fun for me, and especially since we started doing the craft beer thing, because we live in Abbotsford and there's some great craft breweries just around our area. Like on part one where we had, although it was from Port Media, that was a fantastic beer.
It was.
And that's actually
Should have grabbed a beer for the second one. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
It's a brass monkey.
I have all the way from United States, produced by the Coors Bush Company. It's Old Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee.
Old dependable.
They don't have chicks on the can anymore.
Yeah, there's one right there, right in your finger.
That's the old, because it's also the old style of the can. They kind of redid it back. They did a throwback. That's
Yeah.
one of the
But I
older
like-
styles of cans. Before cans had the like indentation up towards the top, they used to be completely cylindrical. So they were, one perfect cylinder with the different type of opener on the top too. It was more like a spade kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Why-
really
why-
old
why?
school
I'm
cans.
actually baffled by your knowledge of, old Milwaukee lore.
He's married to the beer
Beer
equivalent
baroness.
Of a,
Oh
of
my
a sommelier.
God.
I am literally live with the beer baroness.
I'm pretty sure he quizzes them before bed. If you want some, you better answer these 5 beer questions.
And I always get them wrong, and then I get nothing. I'm kidding.
We were currently recording this in your beautiful house, and I was in your prior.
This isn't the house. This is just the garage.
Yeah, I know, but I was in your prior residence.
It's much nicer everywhere.
No, this is the whole house. He shits in a bucket. It's in the fucking corner. I saw it. It's disgusting.
We recorded the last edition where I was on in the Red in your prior residence, and I hung out at your place, Brian. And I got to say, like, the geek lore is deep within this crew here. You guys are all in depth in your own little genres, but there's so much
understatement.
cross. You're the only guy I know has a bigger video game collection than me, Brian.
Well, I try.
You haven't seen mine yet.
Well, there you go. But video games and geek lore and like adding the cocktails and the drink into the daily episode, I mean, or the weekly episode, is just a great little touch to what In the Red is and what makes it so unique and so fun to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
Because you guys do a lot of research and there's passion behind it.
That's a lie.
Well,
We
The
do
lie
enough
detector
research.
just-
Like, a lot of what we talk about.
Adequate.
adequate.
We talk about what we know, and like we don't try to get out of our comfort zone. We try to every once in a while. I know recently I've started doing a thing where we do TV theme song trivia.
Right.
Because I love TV theme songs. And honestly, I on the way to work, I'll just listen to TV theme songs ad nauseum. Because I just like that. I don't know.
I've been in his
like,
car. You'll be listening
Yeah.
to just some regular song,
Yeah.
whatever, and then,
Yeah, Golden Girls.
Golden Girls comes on. Absolutely.
And I'm just
Facts of life. You're like, what? Yeah. Or like, some growing pains or some family ties.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
Never thought
You won't get him on any of them.
No. That's a very popular one.
No, and it's great because then I do like a little quiz show, and these guys can just come in and I'm the one that actually has to prepare, and which is kind of cool.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I had a real good time doing it.
Doing quiz shows is fun too. It adds a different dynamic and different dimension to the show because people listening can be like, oh, I know that answer. I know that answer. The Flipside had the Flipside Ultimate Challenge of meaningless information, and the acronym was "fuck me." So
That's fantastic.
That's it. We're going to Prince George.
but quiz shows and little trivia shows like that is always fun to do. And
Well, it's you want to keep fresh, and the problem is that it isn't. It's an audio medium.
Yes.
So although we've had a lot of ideas about doing other things, like the old Liars Club. I don't know if you're familiar with the Liars Club.
No.
The idea behind the Liars Club, it was a
Great
game show, and they had a panel of pseudo celebrities. It was a Canadian show, so it was just a bunch of muck and mucks they found at CBC.
So you're saying the
dumpster.
red and blue Rangers were there?
No,
David Yost
no,
and
it was
Austin
even
Sink?
worse. It was people I'd never heard of.
It's even worse. It's somebody like Famke Chance.
She was not happy to be there. But no, and they would get an item, and they would have to. Each one would guess about what that item is. It was like an antique or something weird. And then the contestants would have to vote on who they believe was actually telling the truth about what that item was.
Most accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether they got it or not, and the points were based
Kind
on
of like
how many-
Balderdash.
Yeah,
with
but
an
with,
item.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
And it would
that.
be a great idea, but how do you translate that into an audio medium? Like, you can't do that. Whereas trivia is good because it's just questions, answers. So yeah.
Sometimes an audio clip, sometimes it's...
Yeah, exactly.
No, theater of the mind is always fun when it comes to any sort of audio medium, be it podcast or radio broadcast or even radio theater itself.
Radio theater's absolutely huge. It's super cool.
Who remembers listening to like the old episodes of like The Shadow? Or,
My buddy had those like on cassette tape.
Oh my god!
He had a box set of
Really?
them when we
The
were kids.
Shadow?
Yeah, we were
That's
kids.
awesome.
But yeah, he had them. He's like, "You want to listen to The Shadow?" I was like, "Yeah, fuck, it's cool." I used to listen to it on some AM radio station back in the day. They used to play it late at night.
I believe
pretty
it was.
CKNW probably or something like that.
I think it was Oldies 980.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
what I used to listen to it on. And they would have The Shadow. They'd have Amos and Andy.
Yes.
Burns and Gracie. It was fantastic, and I remember listening to those like ad nauseum.
CBC
More than likely,
Maybe.
before
I
they
wouldn't be
jumped
surprised.
into satellite radio, CBC Radio 2 actually did have a theater radio, late night theater radio. But yeah, no, I'm all like a fan of all that stuff. I love doing radio trivia. I love doing radio theater, little bits like that. It's just fun. And it's one of the reasons why I love In the Red. It's a great podcast to listen to. And it's also the fact that Brian and I, like, we graduated together. We went to high school at the same fucking time.
very true.
Right, we have that connection. So, like, it took me a little while to jump onto the bandwagon, but thanks to Facebook and thanks to someone finally sharing shit, which apparently is an issue, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not very good at the social media sometimes, and it shows.
My husband is a punk musician in his spare time.
Okay.
And we actually call it bad member syndrome because he has the same problem. Like when you're promoting a show, he's the one who's promoting it and sharing it and liking, sharing on Facebook.
Yeah.
Trying to get his other band members to promote the fucking show is like pulling teeth. It's like, come on, it's literally just share and say something. Just do
Click.
it.
Yeah, off you go.
Yeah, I tend to do like 3 weeks of nothing, then 3 episodes at one time. Or
Oh,
two
by the
here,
way, this.
and You're lucky this week because you're getting a double header because I haven't done shit in 3 weeks. Yeah, it's not good.
That's fucking hilarious. But I was actually down here. We were touching on this during the last episode of In the Red. I'm down here visiting because the Vancouver Fan Expo brought us to it. It brought me down here to it. And one of the advantages of me in my position, working mainstream media, is I get to bring along some friends every once in a while. And Vancouver Fan Expo gave me the opportunity. Me being of the press and having the credentials that I have, it gives me an opportunity to bring, quote unquote, 3 staff. And there's air quotes I'm using with that. And I signed Brian up as one of my staff. I wanted to know, what was it like for you hanging out with me as I was doing my crazy fucking media shit and walking around that area of the Fan Expo?
It's a crash course for sure. I mean, you got to learn really fast, and I mean, you only have X amount of time, and you briefed me as good as you could, yeah, it's a little bewildering, and especially when you're getting a culture shock to going to something like that where I've never actually been before. Like had no clue what I was doing or what I was necessarily in for. I was like, okay, it'll be Henry Winkler. I didn't know how the setup would be. I didn't know there'd be lineups for everybody, like little stalls, like your cattle being kind of herded in to each person all the way along. And no, it was a bit of a crash course, and you showed me a lot of stuff, and I really didn't have much of a clue, but I think I learned a bit.
You helped out. You helped out greatly. He was a great shooter.
It's just a lot of fun.
It's a huge blast.
You know, it was, I just had fun with it and just did whatever, you know, and that seemed to be okay for the most part.
Yeah.
Some people probably didn't like it, but
like Fasimo,
like Formica Johansson.
Formica Johansson.
Yeah, I don't think she liked it. She kind of had that stone face, almost like she was made of some type of Formica or something.
You actually even helped. You jumped in on a couple of interviews as well, which was a great help too.
You did?
Oh yeah, you did.
Wow.
Well, it's behind the camera, so it was a little more awkward, but at the same time, the availability of these people to actually go in and do what he did so thoroughly, it would have been fairly redundant anyway. So there's not much point for me to go and ask the same questions you just asked. I thought it was very thorough and good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm tall. I'm a good stand. I can hold the camera at a good angle. It doesn't matter. Like, he's like, oh, take more footage of that. So I, because I'm a fairly tall guy, I can put my hand all the way up with the viewfinder facing me and just pan around to everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it worked really well.
Yeah.
And so what the hell? I was a tripod for 8 hours.
He was a great tripod. But yeah, no,
But it was a great tripod.
That's
the main thing, right?
But he legitimately, I do recall, and we do have video footage. We have proof that he actually did jump in on a couple of interviews and added great content to it. Like
nice.
I can ask questions in interviews until I'm fucking blue in the face, but that's only because I've done it for such a long time. To have someone else be like, what about this question? Maybe I didn't think of that. Maybe it's a different point of view that I never considered, right? And so to have that type of help, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that.
What do you find is the secret to like asking good questions? Because that's a problem. Like, we have guests on our show, and for me, that's always a big issue. I never know what to ask, and I always feel like whatever I'm going to ask is going to sound like completely just stupid.
Yeah.
I have the same problem like around celebrities. When I meet a celebrity, I don't want to be like, oh, you were great during that thing, and it's like I feel like I'm being patronizing almost. But do you feel like that's almost how you have to be, or yeah?
You got to butter them up. You got to grease them up just a little bit. You got to let them know that you actually care, that you're actually talking to this person, right? I never go in with too much information, because if I go in for too much information, then it's just overloading my brain. I already know this shit.
Yeah.
Why do I need to talk about that stuff? But I don't let it doesn't register to me that fuck I should bring that up, even though I know that other people listening don't know that. So generally, I go in with a good idea of what I want to talk about, and it's just simple questions. Who are you? Why do I care? What have you done lately? What are you going to be doing in the future? And where can people follow you to find out more information? Yeah. And the rest of it, like Henry Winkler, when we're talking about Henry Winkler, right? It's a great example.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't know he wrote 34 novels.
Yeah, and then you just play on that.
I didn't know he was doing a TV show with William Shatner and Terry Bradshaw. He brought it up. So weird. Right? Exactly.
They usually steer the conversation if you start it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And once they steer it, you can kind of react to whatever they say. Now, tell me more about that.
Exactly.
What do you think about that? And especially for celebrities like that, where you don't get a lot of time. I think it's a different dynamic, though. Like when we have guests on the show and stuff like that, here, it's a more intimate setting. They're not like Henry Winkler or whatever that's been on TV for 40 years, that knows like anywhere he goes in the world, basically people are like, oh, Fonzie. Like, people know who he is.
Exactly.
But the people we have on, I think it's a more of a relaxed thing where I don't think our interviewing's bad. I don't think you do a bad job of interviewing ever. I think that it's
maybe it's just my own personal.
I understand the worry. I understand the worry of like, fuck, I hope it's a good interview, and I hope it's interesting. But you find that, like I've always found that if you go in with the general questions of who are you, why are you here, why do I care, what are you working on, what do I have to look forward to?
Do you actually say, why do I care?
No, I reword that.
That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah. Who are you? They're like, oh, I'm Henry Winkler. Why do I care? He's like, I was Fonzie? You're like, eh.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Formica is like, why do I care that you were Jane
Who are you?
Grey?
Why do I care?
Formica Johansson. Why do I care?
Just push me in the fucking wheelchair, bitch. Come on.
But
pay $20 for this.
You go in with those general questions. An organic communication bridge will happen. You know, the interaction will come. And then from that, that's where you get the jumping off points, right? The same thing with Jennifer Hale. Oh, she has a podcast. Fucking talk about your podcast. You know, I was talking with Mark Meir. What's it like being a voice actor? Oh, it's tough someday. Why is it so tough? Oh, sometimes you gotta act like you get hit. Suddenly you get hit harder. You get hit really hard. Now you're on fire. Now you're getting hit with something that's on fire. He fucking went on for like 3 minutes talking about all the shit that he's done when he's talking about being a voice actor and an action, you know, like a video game action character is very difficult. So it's all about just coming in with like a general idea of who I'm talking to, why I'm talking to them, and then just let them talk.
Yeah.
Just let them go, right?
Yeah. No, that's how I've done it. Like we've had, like especially let's use Salam as an example.
Salam's a great example.
Just let the guy talk. Like the guy is a fountain of just amusing stories and information and just how he came to this country and got what he was. And it was just let the guy talk. Let's let him tell us his story. And yeah, you're right. It's very organic, and you kind of keep him on the right route, and you kind of reel it in. But yeah, I'll shut up now.
No, it's fine.
he was probably literally one of the easiest people to interview as well, though, because you ask him one question and he would go off on a story that would take you on a journey through the completely fucked up life he's had, like from being a male prostitute to his grandmother molesting him and grabbing her tits around his head and talking about his boner and how his dick points downwards slightly like an eagle's beak. Like he's just and he's very
so
nonchalant.
casually, like it's just like
by the way.
Have you seen the size of my nipples? My nipples are like little pink erasers on the end of pencils. Let me show you. Pulls the shirt. See them? See, they're very small. They're very nice, though. They're like little pink erasers. Yeah.
What the hell?
He's great. He speaks like 5 languages. Like
my sandwiches.
He makes giant sandwiches.
Yeah.
In Surrey.
And he
He's a
feeds
sandwich Nazi.
homeless people.
Yeah.
Like he feeds thousands of homeless people every week.
He had a documentary, and he went down with South by Southwest down to Texas, and he whipped his pants down and showed his cock to like 300 people. There's a crowd of people that are taking pictures, and he just drops trow and goes, "Here you go," and they were snapping pictures of his dick.
Yeah.
And he does not care.
That guy needs a handler.
He does. If anybody, more than anyone at the con, he was way more crazy than
More
any
than
of those
for
people.
Micah Johansson.
Yes. Holy fuck.
Wow, that's incredible. When it comes to interviews, like the more organic, the better, right? Like the more comfortable you can make someone, the better it is. They used to be the job of Monroe, the former co-host of the Flipside, where I would be busy programming the show, getting the music organized, getting the commercial breaks done, getting what we're going to talk about all done up. So I'm just fucking like furious, and I'm papers flying, and I'm typing this out, whatever. Monroe's job would always be to comfort the guest. This is the Flipside. I'm one of the co-hosts. Nice to meet you. He's the general host, blah, 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 blah. By the time Monroe was done talking to the person, just like, this is going to be chillax. We're going to talk about this. It's no big deal. We got this topic, and you're never going to be like in the wind when it comes to this topic or this topic, because what I did was I'd always share the same screen with everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's never like, let's talk about this, and no one's caught off guard, right? So to be as comfortable as possible is the best way to do it. There's been times where I've completely checked out of an interview. Like I interviewed the Trues, the band The Trues. Halfway through it, I checked out. I was done.
I don't blame you.
Well, I was utterly done, and they were a boring interview. They didn't want to talk to me, and by the time I caught on to that, I was like, I didn't want to talk to them. I was like, okay, thank you so much, and enjoy the show tonight, and good luck to you. Bye. And like I walked, and I didn't even like. I had an operator with me, and I fucking walked him like, hurry up! And that dude's just like grabbing all the shit, and off he goes. And I still, like, the Trues were just still standing there like, oh, so we're done. I didn't care, right? But I lost interest in the interview because they lost interest in me before I even showed up. So you do run into that sort of danger, but I mean, you guys run a tight ship. You're always having fun with this.
Tight ship.
Tight? I don't know.
I don't think it's that tight.
Well, you guys are always having fun, and there is a formula that is in place.
Sometimes
yeah.
it's really hard. Sometimes I think though too to be like up for every single week. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. I know all of us feel like that. Sometimes we're kind of like, I just feel like shit, or I didn't sleep well.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it could be something small. It could be something like I've got a really bad flu or cold, and we struggle through for the most part.
That was the salon one. Like I had the flu so bad. And listening to it, I'm just like, I'm not on point. I don't know. There was so much where I'm like,
why
I don't remember.
He completely overshadowed us. So
Yes,
nobody's going to remember us listening to that one. They're going to remember him because he was legendary. That was probably, if I had to say, one of my most favorite podcasts we've done was probably that one because I laughed so hard, like my sides hurt. And I'm not taking away from anybody else we've had on and the legions of people we've had on it that have all been super, super awesome. But just for him, it was just such a completely turned it right on its fucking head. It's something we didn't think was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Which means I don't mean to keep harping on him like he's some sort of deity or something here.
We do have a shrine in the back.
Yeah, we do. But it just the fact that he actually showed up. I was like, looked out Dave's window. I'm like, actually, he's here right now. And you're like, oh shit. We're like, what the fuck? He actually came, and he came in like a storm, and then just left. Thank you. I gotta go, my friends. I got a hospital. I gotta go to the doctor appointment. See you later. Shakes all our hands and just gone. And we're still sitting there like we just finished. We're like, what the fuck just happened here? Are you serious? He was in like a fucking hurricane and right through and gone.
Holy
just
crap.
Like that. It was so weird.
That's
why it's so
insane.
remarkable. It was so strange. It was just so strange.
Where do you hope to take In the Red? This is like a fun hobby, but it's actually turning into something. You're getting a followership.
Well, we're gonna get on CNN probably.
Yeah. Or NPR.
Sign me the fuck up.
We're gonna Wolf Blitzer.
We're gonna do a jazz episode so we can break into NPR.
That would be great.
I've been practicing my NPR. Jazz.
Two Miles Davis songs at the same time.
For us, it's more of a passion project. I think it's and that's always how we've looked at it. I don't know that we could ever monetize it or use it as a form of monetization. I feel like if we wanted to go that way, I'd actually have to start putting a lot more work into it than I actually already am.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually in the middle of switching careers, so the future of a lot of things is kind of at stake at this point. But I mean, In the Red will always be a thing for me. I don't want it to stop. I don't care if we had like 3 listeners a week. I mean, we have 8, but we have. But at 3,
he's not wrong.
it's just we do it because we love to do it.
Right.
The same. I look at it like if I was a painter or a sculptor, and if I wasn't selling stuff because I love to do it, I keep doing it. It's not going to prevent me from doing what I enjoy doing, and I don't think you should ever give up what you enjoy doing. I have, I've talked to many comedians over the years. My friend Lori, and I've often gone to shows with her and talked to comedians, and they say as long as you keep doing it and you enjoy doing it, don't stop.
Yeah.
Like if you're not, if it doesn't matter if you make 100 people laugh, it doesn't matter if you make 5 people laugh. As long as you enjoy doing it, do it. Whether you're getting paid or not, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Don't deprive yourself of doing things that you enjoy. It's the same like my husband. Like I said, he plays in punk bands and stuff like that. And I've never gone to the point where it's like, no, you're not going out, you're staying home. Fuck you and your stupid band. Because I realize that that's something that he's passionate about and he enjoys doing. I'm not going to prevent him from doing that.
Yes.
Because I know it would just make him miserable.
It's actually it's fun that you bring that up because it's actually podcast 101. Before I left Prince George to come down here, I was actually approached by a few friends of mine wanting to put together a podcast to help out their little business, and it's great business. If you haven't been to Game Quest up in Prince George yet, fucking go. You're missing out. But they approached me with the question of like, how do you start a podcast? Well, the first rule of podcasting, the first rule of any sort of broadcast whatsoever is it better be something you enjoy doing. Doesn't matter, like if you're thinking about like, well, if I talk about this, then I'm going to get more followers here. And if I talk about this, then it might be more controversial. So that means I'm going to get these people involved, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't fucking matter. If you produce something, if you put something together that you enjoy listening to, that you enjoy doing, that you enjoy actually putting together and look forward to doing on a weekly, daily basis, whatever it is, then the fucking listeners will come. The followers will be there. You build it, they will come. Kevin Costner is in a cornfield jacking off, and it doesn't even matter because he fucking built it. He's coming.
Yeah.
But if you put together something that you enjoy doing, then eventually you will find people, or other people will find you that have the same interests and go, that is a great show.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell someone else, like, you should gotta listen to these. These guys are fucking funny. Did you hear about the guy who's got the dick that
Can you
goes
tell
downwards?
us what year that'll happen in, so we're ready for it? Because we're not there yet, and we're just wondering when does that happen exactly? Do you know what month?
I don't, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Smarch. The month of Smarch.
It's weird
Of course,
because
I'm waiting for that.
yes.
I've worked other jobs. Like I worked in a chocolate factory for a bit, and I worked with a lot of guys who were younger, like in their 20s or 18, 19, 20, 21. And all they ever talk about is like, oh, I can't wait to start a YouTube channel and start making money. And I was like, well, that's your first mistake.
Yeah.
Don't go into these things thinking that you're automatically going to start monetization, because when you see these YouTube guys who have 800 to 900,000 views, they've been doing it for years.
Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie.
They didn't just come out overnight
Yeah.
and suddenly get thousands and millions of views. They worked at it, and they got into a point where they have a system. They have that niche market. They have that thing that people look for. It's not my thing, Markiplier. You're a fucking useless piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. And fucking just stop dyeing your hair, god damn it. You're not helping anything. But, there's people that watch them.
Yeah.
I had a cousin who was like, oh, what? And I'm like, he's about to graduate high school. I was like, well, what do you want to do when you graduate? He's like, oh, I want to be a professional gamer and have a YouTube channel and make money off that. And I'm
Good
like,
fucking luck.
it's like, okay, well, you and about every other teenage boy who plays Call of Duty wants the exact same thing. It's like, I'm not trying to kibosh your dreams, but don't go into it thinking that you're going to do it as a career.
Yeah.
Just do it because you want to do it, because you want to have fun.
If we could go into it and break even, we'd probably consider that a win.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's,
for
that's fair.
hosting SoundCloud and stuff like that, because you actually have to pay for hosting. If you just broke even, it'd be like, that's fantastic. That's perfect. That's all we really
no
need.
longer
Because
costing
we
me
can
money.
still do what we like, but it's not costing anything.
But honestly, like $16 a month to get together and do what I enjoy, that's it's cheaper than crack.
That is true. You know what? That's our new slogan. In the red, cheaper than crack.
That's a great slogan.
Yeah, it is. It's true. And for the listeners out there, it's free. And crack costs money. So what makes more sense to consume? Our podcast, not crack. Don't do crack, do In the Red.
I mean, we've done when we introduced the idea of the cocktails and the beers, it was kind of deep down, it was something that I wanted to do because you were passionate about craft beers. I was really into cocktails at the time, and I still am. But at the same time, I did look at it as, well, maybe it's a way we can expand our audience. We can, we do local craft beers. We tag them in our posts. We get Abbey Ale. We get this person. We get local craft alcohol.
Yeah.
Oddfellows. When we did the Oddfellows one,
or some really crazy ones from far away. I went down to Colorado and actually packed a beer back with me from Colorado to put on the podcast that flopped.
But it was an experience.
It was good. It was entertainment.
And it's cool when you see I think it was Stanley Park was our first person that actually liked one of our podcasts.
There you go.
Because we mentioned them in the beer, we said their beer was good, we mentioned them in the podcast, we had them, and they liked it and they shared our show, and we got some listenership from that. And that's great. It's cool when I go on to SoundCloud and I see the distribution. Like we're doing really good in the UK. A lot of people in the UK.
You'd be surprised
are listening.
how the Flipside has gained traction in Europe.
Yeah, it's so weird. Maybe there's nothing. I wish I was as funny as Britain.
We do get listeners from the US, from the UK, from Germany, from France.
I'm getting
from
fans on YouTube
Spain.
from Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Ukraine,
so bizarre.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Any little
Is it
place
really
in
though?
Europe.
But when I go on the internet or whatever, or when I'm watching, shows on Netflix,
Yes.
I'm kind of more inclined to check out European or UK shows.
Yeah, that's
just
true.
because it's different. It's a different
flavor.
perspective,
Yeah.
different flavor.
So you
in a
think
way.
they're
I
like,
don't think that's-
we'll check out these stupid Canadians.
I mean, we love British shows, so we'll check that out. Well,
No, that's a
I don't
logical.
know what the rest of the world
That's
views as.
that's actually a good
blue-collar
way of
thing.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking for something overseas that's completely different from your own culture.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right. Which could explain why we're all getting traction in the UK, and why I'm getting fans on YouTube from the Ukraine. It just it blew my mind when I was like, the fuck is that Russian? Oh no, it's not. It's Ukrainian. My apologies.
that's
I'm
great.
sorry.
Yeah.
And stay away from the motherland. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So you're happy, content. Just it'd be nice to be able to break even, but really $16 a month is not that bad.
No.
No,
It's
not
not
at
that
all.
bad
Not
at
at
all.
all.
No. So what
that's
would you hope to get in for future guests of In the Red?
We really had a mission statement at one point where we were all about local businesses and business people like that. And we have had a lot of people like that. We had Chris Cutlass on the show from Memento Mori's here in town. We've had DJ Temple a couple times. I don't think he's allowed on our show anymore. His publicist was like,
like
you can't
what he
go on
says
the
on
show
here."
and talk about the great things that Hitler did. And, it's just not good for you guys.
Basically what happened too. Yeah.
Jesus.
But we've had some great people on the show. It would be great to get I don't know.
We've got some people lined up. We're just working out some technical things, and I think after talking to you even yesterday,
Yes.
and you giving me information on things I can do to get over those hurdles, I think we're going to be able to do a lot of really cool things. I do have some people from Los Angeles and from Toronto and stuff that I would like to have on. That logistically, we're not fucking flying them in. We can't afford to. We can't afford to. Well, maybe they could sleep on a cot in Dave's garage or something, or on that piece of wood he
right
has
beside
on
the
the
shit
floor.
bucket.
Yeah, you could use a paint can as a pillow.
Between the
thing,
shit
but-
bucket and the Salam Khalil
shrine.
shrine.
Yeah, that's true.
Well-
look, the candles look like my nipples.
The amount of interviews that I've done in my professional job, mainstream media with 99.3 The Drive, as well as on the flip side, the amount of that I've done that's been on the phone or through Skype or Discord is it's not substantial, but it's worked, right? Okay, so the sound quality isn't the greatest, right? The four of us are in this room, we have clear microphones and a great soundboard. It's like we're in someone else's living room. And Skype and Discord and the phone, not the greatest, but still, it gives you that content.
It's
True. I do but also I like that that feel, the
Yes.
fact that they're there. They're because especially with the cocktail and the beer, it's nice to have them participate in that. It's almost like a treat.
Oh yeah, that's good. That I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's kind of a technical limitation. Let me mail you in an envelope with plastic inside of it the drink for the week. You'll get it in 2 weeks. I want you to put it in the fridge and wait for us to call you.
Yeah.
Don't open it until then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you do open it, just let it breathe.
It leaks. It's everywhere.
And we do have a Yuck Yucks here. It'd be great to get some of those comedians that come through here. But it's also limitations on them. I mean, they're only here for a brief amount of time, and our schedule doesn't always line up with them, right?
Right.
So I mean, I want to work harder toward, like I said before, I'd love to work harder and put more effort into it and have more spare time to have those good interviews and to have those people on the show. But logistically and financially, I don't have the full ability to do stuff like that, and that sucks. But I still think that we do what we do and we enjoy doing it. We still do our top fives. We got some other stuff that we want to try to do on the show coming up, and it's an evolving show. It's an organic being. It's never. I like change and I like challenges, and it'll always kind of evolve. And I don't know.
You're on the
I
right
like to do
track.
that.
That's the way a show should be.
Yeah, you don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to be doing the same thing. And when we first started, it was always top 5 lists. And honestly, it's hard to come up with a topic for a top 5 list week after week after week after week.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah, yeah.
True.
well, last week we did top 5 reasons cats are better than dogs. Maybe this week we'll do what clowns are top 5 clowns that aren't clowns. Yeah, but it's, you watch Mojo and you're like, sometimes the lists are like, really? You're scraping, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
But they have 1 million contributors as well.
Yeah,
true.
that's very
But
true.
with this show, with me, it's been, and ever since, I'd say probably in about the last year, I'll go back and I listen to a lot of them, and if I don't laugh at it, I think that's the day I'll probably quit. And I go back and consistently every time I'm like, why am I laughing at my own shit? Like it's weird. It's so masturbatory that I'm going back and even listening to it. But I figure if I won't improve, I won't get a little bit better. I won't maybe know to maybe shut my mouth at certain points or whatever I need to do to make it flow better. If I don't go back and listen to it and go, wow, I'm talking too fast, or I'm too jibber jabbery, or I'm laughing too loud into the microphone, I'm like breathing into the microphone or something. Like I need to know if I'm doing those things, so I go back and do that. But I do listen to it and I do laugh, so I'm like, fuck, that makes it worth it to me that I can actually go back and listen to these two bozos and they kill me. These guys slay me. Like it's hilarious listening to them and listening to us together, and the shit sometimes you don't even believe it because it happens so organically. None of this is scripted. So if something really hilarious happens, we all genuinely are killing ourselves laughing at it. And to go back and listen to it again, I laugh again. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's great.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
I find Johnny hilarious, actually. Like, when I re-listen to the shows, I laugh a lot of stuff that Johnny comes up with. And not only that, I laugh at the way we treat Johnny on the show. Because we respect him and we love this guy. But when it comes across in the show, it's like he's the lowest
like
of
we're
the
picking
low.
on him, for sure.
Like there was one episode where it's like, okay, Johnny, we got 1 minute left. You got a list for us? You got 1 minute. And I'm actually counting. He's like, fuck you, I'm doing the list. I'm like, no, you need 30 seconds.
Jesus.
And it's those moments that I love.
Like a Henry Winkler nightmare.
There's a term that's going to stick right there. A Henry Winkler nightmare.
Henry Winkler nightmare in purple pants.
Oh, God.
The Flipside, like in comparison, when the Flipside first started, it was actually a Sunday morning half-hour show. And then eventually it turned into a 2-hour Saturday evening talk radio show. Like it changed. It morphed from there to there, right? And it was pre-recorded, and at one point it was scripted, and then it just went full bore, like live. We're doing this. Here's a few topics, and off we go, right? Exactly, right? So to have something grow and change, and it's like we were doing this, but now we're going with this, right? And to be off the dome and off the cuff and actually be comfortable with it is a great sign that things are growing. You become more comfortable. You're becoming broadcasters. Congratulations!
It's a good point. The show is actually
CBC. Call me.
The show has its own kind of its own thing going.
Yes,
right?
always.
And that's the thing. We wing it all the time. That's our game plan. Every time we do very little preparation for it. And you were talking about who do we see in the future for guests? It kind of just revolves around like a concentric circle of our friends. Yeah. Right. And any branches off that we can take, and it's whoever comes at the time. It's super organic and just kind of laissez-faire. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. We're just lucky that all our friends we have such a great friend circle of talented, amazingly goal-orientated individuals who have all have showcased their adversity to get what they want. We have DJ Temple who was like, no, I want a space where I can rehearse, I can do martial arts, I can do this and I can do this in a safe spot, and I want to do that full time and teach music. So why the hell not? And he's done that. That's the same with you. Like, you've chased when you were here and you told us your dream about, no, I want to be a broadcaster, and I was piss poor and living in my car because that's what I wanted to do. And I destroyed a relationship that I was very happy about just to get to where you are today, and you're still happy and you're still doing it. Those are the stories, like those stories of diversity and just human beings just being fucking fantastic, are probably the best guests we have. Like Salam, like he came from poor-ridden areas, fucked his way into the country and became the person that he is today, a very successful man who is turning around his good fortune and feeding literally thousands of homeless people every week. It's those stories of adversity and diversity that just do it for
people
me.
Doing what they love.
Yeah.
Basically, like somebody's like, this is my passion, this is my goal in life, and they grab it and they do it.
Yeah, they don't let go.
It's not a commonplace thing. As much as it seems like it's common with the people we talk to, it's really not. There's a lot of people that are doing jobs like, maybe doing a janitor job or doing a low pay, low skill type of job somewhere. It sucks. And these people are just like, I want to start teaching people music, so I'm going to open a place that does that. Or I like giving people tattoos. I'm going to open a place that does that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I like talking to people on the radio. Somebody will do that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to talk to that many people consistently that want to go do those things, and they just go, fuck it, I'm doing it. And that's it. And that's a thing people go, how?
Yeah. No.
Why? How? What the fuck? So having them on gives people that listen to this clarity on, you know, how you can actually go and do these things, or you can attempt to do them anyways. I mean, not everybody's going to be successful at it. They might be some of the exceptions to the rule, but they're actually going out and doing it, and it's really fucking cool to hear the story and the journey to get there.
And you guys are nice enough to actually, and you have the resources to be able to actually find those people, sit them down, put a microphone in front of them, and you make them comfortable enough to go like, tell me your story. And that's the important part. And that's the wonderful thing about In the Red. And for fuck's sakes, if you're listening to the Flip Side and you haven't subscribed to In the Red yet, where can someone find the podcast In the Red?
Right now we are hosted by SoundCloud, so you can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us actually on iTunes if you look up In the Red, or In the Red Cast, I believe, on iTunes, because there's another one that's In the Red. We're on Twitter at In the Red Cast. We're on Facebook as In the Red Cast. We're Instagram In the Red Cast, and Twitter as well. Like we're on all the social media. If you look up In the Red Cast, you're going to find us.
Perfect.
So we're always around.
Worst case, put in Dave and Brian with it if you really can't find it. Because there is an In the Red record company from down in the States, so sometimes those two will conflict each other a little bit. Yeah. You know, just happens to be a coincidence. We are not affiliated with the In the Red record company.
Not yet, anyway.
We'll take you over soon.
This will wrap it up for this edition of the Flip Side of episode 408. Thank you so much for joining me on this venture of a double podcast, first on In the Red and now here on the Flip Side.
Thank you, man.
Johnny, Brian, Dave, great job.
Thank you.
Loving everything you guys are doing. And the social media links will be in the description down below if you're listening on the YouTube channel. I'm JD TheMediaJack. You can follow me all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on Twitch. And game on. I'll see you next time.